Yes, people, hope you're doing well. Here is the Soku Kaizen Pro. This is Soku's latest mousepad release, and it's meant to be levels above the rest after older releases. I just want to see if they did that with this one. So Soku so far released 4 pads. They had the X1, their first release, which had like the really nice artwork. It was really basic control pad. There was like no stitching, anything like that. Then they released the Shuro and the Akai, which were better. They were upgraded. I preferred the designs. They were like simplistic. There was like red, white. They had stitching, of course, just better pads in general. But the Kaizen Pro, it beats all of those releases. Like, it's just a better pad in general. So the Kaizen Pro is 490 by 420 with a 3.5 base. So it's just a standard sizing. This is like the normal for mouse pads basically. I'm hoping Soku will end up doing like a 500 by 500 size because I just prefer square and larger sizing now. After using it, it's just better. The stitching on the Kaizen Pro is low profile and around surface level. I'm not going to say below because it's not easy to see, but just know the stitching like is perfect. I have no complaints with it. If I'm like going over it, there's no issues at all. Like I don't notice the stitching at all when I'm playing. And the purple stitching just looks amazing with the pad. Like the color just suits it so well. Okay, so the base is where Soku really upgraded on this pad. Every one of Soku's pads before this used a rubber base, but for this drop they used a Soku Pro PU Plus base. So it's a standard PU base, which you would see, and it's good, it does the job. It sticks well to the desk, and when playing there's no issues at all. I'm a fan of it. However, my mousepad came with some issues on the base. There's some marks on the base you can see. I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't really bother me either. Like, I'm not looking at the base at all when I'm playing. Like, I'm never looking at the base, so I don't care about it. It's just, if you're someone who cares about that, if you care that there's going to be marks on the base, then just that's something to look out for. Okay, so of course, the main thing about this pad is the design. I really like it. The purple looks so well with like the orange, like the dragon really catches your eye and it stands out. Obviously you get the anime waifu in the pad, but I really like the like little designs they did. Like you can see the little details in the clothing, like the shoes, etc. They just look really nice and just make the design look complete. However, some people have shared that they just don't like the design. I think it's just preference really. Like some people aren't gonna like all these anime pads, but some people will. It's just like what you prefer. Now, of course, it's like the important part is like how does the pad actually perform? Soku described the pad as a control surface, and it's definitely a control pad. However, I was like surprised by the pad's actual speed. It feels more like a hybrid sometimes, but still with like great stopping power, so you can like do your fast swipes and everything, and then you still have like good micros and good stopping power. Like overall micros feel great on this pad, so like attack FPS games like Valorant and CSGO play amazing on the Kaizen Pro. Like this is a perfect pad for attack FPS. However, this game isn't really for tracking heavy games like Apex or the finals, so if you're gliding across the pad doing like reactive movements or smoothness tracking, there's going to be a slight tugging feeling on this pad, I'd say. So it's 100% for like static players, attack FPS players, not for like reactive smoothness. Okay, now I'm gonna compare it to some other control pads I've got. Okay, the first pad I want to compare it to is Infinity Mouse's Shogun. I feel like they're really similar pads. Like, the surface on the Kaizen Pro, I'd say the surface on the Shogun is actually slower than the Kaizen Pro, just from being here. I'd say they're both really smooth, but the Shogun is smoother. I just feel like the Shogun is a lot slower than the Kaizen Pro. And I also want to compare it to the Vaxi PA, which is very similar to the GSRSE Rouge that I also have. I'd say that the Vaxi PA is definitely a smooth surface, but it feels definitely more textured than something like the Kaizen Pro, and a lot slower. This is like such a slow pad compared to both the Shogun and the Kaizen Pro. So definitely more muddy feeling. I'd say this is like something like the Vaxi PA is like just suited to static and like attack FPS. I would not want to play other games on it just because of like the slow feeling. The Kaizen Pro you can get away with playing other stuff on it just because it's faster. I'd say this is my favourite Soku release so far. I've really enjoyed using the pad. Would I main this pad? Probably not. I definitely think I prefer faster surfaces now, like speed pads. But if I'm like playing Valorant, I'll take this thing out and start using it. The design itself is enough for me to have it on the desk. Like, I'd buy this pad just for the design. So Soku definitely delivered with this drop. They upgraded from all their past drops, so this is the best one they've done so far. Soku's a very exciting company, and I look forward to seeing what they release next. That's all I've got to say about this pad. Have a nice day in a bit.